frontier. This is Football Daft with Stephen Purden,
midfield dynamo and average actor,
Chris Toll,
target man, suspicious character,
and
with the top end of Stevenson,
Welcome to Football Daft, the daftest Scottish football podcast around. I'm Stephen Purden, and let's welcome the team. And once again, what a man doing.
Fucking surprise, eh?
What a man doing. Grado is filming 2 doors down, I think. None of us have heard from him. Well, I spoke to him yesterday, but I don't know what's happening. I don't know. It's just us again, Toll. But it's good to have you here, Toll. But I just want to say,
I was nearly away the day and all.
I know.
I know,
me and John. But before we get started with the show, I'll give Grado a wee mention and say it was good to hear from him yesterday in the group chat, because I finally got my belated birthday present from him, because he always kind of says happy birthday, and he usually he's a big birthday guy. He doesn't like missing people's birthdays, so I thought he was lying, but he did get me a birthday present, and producer John will now play that birthday present on air. John, take it away.
Hello, this message is to Grado, and a very happy birthday to Shellsuit Bobe. Love to hear that I'm your inspiration, Big Grado. Aka Buster, who starred in 8 of the very best episodes of River City, sends his deepest apologies for missing your big day. He apologises for being a snake. And he also sends all the best from the boys at Football Daft and Ian Gordon. I hope that makes a lot of sense to you. And all the best wishes from me too. Bye.
So, in case any of the listeners can't understand who that is, that's William Roach, who plays Ken Barlow in Coronation Street, doing a cameo for my birthday, but starts it off by saying it's a message for Grado. So I think Grado was saying yesterday he blames it on William Roach. He said he kind of made an arse it, but I don't know if poor William can take all the flack, because I can imagine Grado trying to give you instructions.
He's getting on, isn't he?
But Grado, I think, giving somebody instructions on what to say and something, I think it could get lost in translation along the way. But there we go, Ken Barlow, who's been in nearly as many episodes of Coronation Street and I have River City, but we'll see. But it was good to hear from him. But the big man's not here. But I will welcome a man now who is more scared of Grant Hanley these days than Pennywise the Clown from It. It is Chris Toll. Toll, how are you?
There's only I'm fine. Do you know, I got my vaccine this morning, right? And there's only 2 things that I'm more scared of than Pennywise the Clown. One's Grant Hanley, and the other one is fucking needles, mate. So I'll tell you this right now, I'm an absolute shite bag. I don't care what anybody says. I've walked into the place and my hands are sweating.
Where did you go?
My palms are sweaty, my knees were weak, my arms were heavy. So I've went to Ravens, Craig. I've walked in and I've got to the front of the queue, and the wee woman's come over and she said, "And what's your name?" And she, with every question, I was getting more fucking irritable, right? "And your address?" And I'm saying fucking blah blah blah, and it's and blah blah blah. And then I went in again, and this woman's asked me the exact same questions again, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm like, "She's fucking," and because I'm building it up in my head, and I'm building it up in my head, and I'm building it up in my head. And the lassie sits me down and she goes, "Right, okay, it's time." So I thought to myself, do you know what? My boy's just come through a hip operation. Surely I can get this done. And I've went to raise my head and I've seen the wee vial of the stuff, and the head's went back down again. Right, so the sleeve's out, and she's saying, "And right, okay, and it'll be over in a second." And the next thing she says, "That's you done." I never even felt it.
No.
What I need to tell you is, I used a cheat code.
Right.
I got a wee anaesthetic cream out of the pharmacy yesterday. Listen, Stevie, honest to God, I can't explain to you. My girlfriend's only ever seen me in this nick twice. once when we were going on holiday, when I was getting onto the plane, and the day.
I get it, mate. I totally get it. Whenever the older I've got, I'm more worried when I'm flying, and the older I've got for that off, whenever I've had blood took, I pass out. So I get the whole needle thing. I get it. I totally get it, mate.
It's horrible. It's horrible, man. It really is horrible. But I have to tell a tale. My arm's a wee bit sore. I was sweating like a bastard earlier on, but I'm all right now.
Did you get a big brave boy sticker, Chris?
Do you know what? She took me and she bought me a McDonald's after it because I was a good boy.
You're an mustard.
Oh, Sammy did. I even got a McFlurry because I was a good boy.
What kind?
Aero.
Oh, mint or chocolate?
Ordinary chocolate, I feel.
Right, I would go for that as well, mate.
Aye, without a doubt.
But there we go. It's good to know, and obviously our listeners will be happy to know that Chris Toll is okay. Obviously the jury's still out with Grado. We don't know where he is, how he is. Is he hanging about with William Roach? Is he doing 2 doors down?
Is he doing 8 tremendous episodes of Coronation Street?
Exactly. We never know. Could see him turning up in the Cobbles or something, another different name. Know what I mean? Masters went for Shield Dinge, didn't he? Is it Weatherfield?
Weatherfield, mate. Aye. A full-on transfer. He always talks about that, doesn't he? Soapcon that he talks about.
You must be due a transfer, Stephen. Are you playing for the testimonial now?
He's well past testimonial. He's got a double testimonial.
Do you get to play EastEnders?
I'm coming up 20 year next year, know what I mean? So I think I'm due maybe a wee 5-a-side tour, maybe River City, Emmerdale,
Neighbours.
Neighbours.
Joe Mangle and Harold Bishop.
Big Toadfish with Becky at the back, man.
Aye. Big Toadie. Jim Robinson. Oh no, he died of a heart attack, didn't he?
He died. Aye, but mate, it's soap world, mate. People die and come back all the time.
Aye, well, Harold Bishop came back, didn't he?
Exactly, I know.
Toadie's missus, I know. And
Exactly.
Dirty Den. Aye, his career's over, but innit?
Aye.
Good to that.
Aye, we'll sidestep that. Anyway, as we discussed on our bonus podcast, Scotland Daft, with producer Ryan and producer John, which you can hear at patreon.com/football daft, the Scotland game, Scotland v Checkers, Czech Republic, 23 years of heart, first game of the tournament, we goes out there, it was pish.
Shut a bed.
But Toll, what do you make it? Because you were on the other night, you were busy. What's your expert view on it?
My expert view on it is, I tell you, we shouldn't have played Andy Robertson. That's the only chance we had. No, in all honesty, I thought Scotland played not terrible, but there was a lot of trepidation. You could feel within the team there was a lot of trepidation. That was a game that we should have had a go at, and I feel now we need to do it the hard way. It's not like Scotland to do it the easy way. So, if we manage to get 4 points out in the next 2 games, we could still go through. It's a big ask, but, it's stranger things have happened.
I think we've just absolutely snookered ourselves right behind the black ball. I'm telling you, I think it's the one game you look at out of these 3 games, it can't be set any better for you. It's at Hampden. Mm-hmm. You're in a group with Croatia, England, but your first game's against Czech Republic, you let Croatia and England battle it out and bloody cut each other's throat, and then we go to play Czech Republic, and we absolutely shit the bed. We did. The occasion got to some of the players out there, and Steve Clark didn't do himself any favours with that team selection.
The team selection was shocking. Like you said, Stephen, you've touched on it before. Youth brings exuberance. There's a fearlessness with a lot of young players. I think that we would have got that with maybe if Turnbull, Gilmore, Patterson, and the one thing I will say is when Forrest came on, he looked more of a threat than we had for that whole game. Shea Adams was tremendous when he came on.
Yes.
You'll notice that I'm saying when he come on.
Aye, that's no good.
All these players, these players need to start, and it's a tournament. It's not like it's not like you get a replay for a draw. So why are you playing with a fear? You've got to go out there and have a go.
And Steve Clark, right? He set that team up not to lose. Now I understand the more a night if we go down to Wembley and we set the team up not to lose. I understand playing Croatia, who the last major tournament, they were the World Cup finalists, you set your team up not to lose. But when you're playing Czech Republic first, you need to set the team up to win.
Absolutely. Completely agree with you. And see, when you look at it as well, we've beat that team before.
Exactly.
We've beat that team before. Now, I pride myself on knowing quite a lot about football, right? Of footballers, at least. And I couldn't name you. If Rangers hadn't have played Slavia Prague and Celtic hadn't have played Sparta Prague, I wouldn't have been able to name you any players in that Czech Republic team.
Mm-hmm.
So, they're obviously no world beaters. So I'd definitely say that Scotland have got a better squad than them. So how we're sitting here licking our wounds after getting horsed. Don't get me wrong, the second goal's a freak goal, right? The second goal's a freak goal, but what a fucking finish it is.
It was some finish.
What a finish it is. The header as well. I think it's Grant Hanley gets caught underneath the ball.
Mm-hmm.
O'Donnell never covered his selling glory the whole game, especially see when Ryan Christie had the ball down at the right hand side and he skins the boy. And fucking O'Donnell just runs directly into him. You know what I mean? How is that happening?
I don't know. But that is the views of Christopher Toll. But more importantly, let's get to our Euro correspondent.
Euro correspondent's just walked in the door.
The absolute legend that is Cian Toll. Cian, take it away. There he is. It is none other than Cian Toll. Cian, how are you?
I'm alright, how are you?
I'm alright, pal. I'm alright. But I would have been better if Scotland had played a bit better, had got a better result. What do you think?
I thought it was a bit meh.
A bit meh.
Aye. Meh.
Aye.
John Fleck didn't do as well as I thought. But not John Fleck. Lyndon Dykes. Same thing.
John McGinn.
No, Lyndon Dykes. That's what I said. I know in my head. Aye, but Lyndon Dykes didn't do his job at all. Neither did O'Donnell. O'Donnell played awful. See, people are blaming it on Jack Hendry, the goal for Marshall, when it was practically at the halfway line. Right? One, why is the goalie that far out? Two, why is Ryan Christie hitting that shot? Right? Oh my God! I'm saying Jack Hendry. Aye. Right. So why is Jack Hendry hitting that shot? No one knows. Right. But see, if you've got the opportunity to pass it to O'Donnell, I'd hit that shot and all. O'Donnell played absolutely awful.
Well, do you know what, Cian? The performance O'Donnell was putting in and the way the game has gone for him, that's a very, very valid point. And I think David Marshall has to take the biggest chunk of blame for that goal. The biggest chunk of blame. Definitely.
He really does.
Aye, so that's all done, right? We got beat. We got beat 2-0. Who better to play in the next game to bounce back than your fierce rivals, the old enemy, England? Exactly. What do you think tomorrow night? Do it at Wembley. Scotland need to get a result. What do you think?
2-1 Che Adams, both the goals.
Yeah!
Right in there!
Yes.
Right in there!
It's the only... It's either going to go 5-0 England with the full team playing like they're standing on charcoal. But it's going to be good or it's going to be bad, then I think it's going to be good.
Well, there you go. You heard
last minute winner, Che Adams.
So it's going to be one each way up to the last minute, then Adams is going to pop up and get the winner in the 93rd minute.
Exactly.
Oh, John, how good would that be?
Love that. Well done, Cian.
Love that. Brilliant, Cian. Thank you, pal. Thank you.
Cian.
Cheers, Cian. Thank you. What a boy.
Top. We need to get him sorted out with just a full-time role in this show.
Well, Grado's never here anyway, so it could be Purden and the two toes. You know what I mean?
TPT.
Aye, exactly. But that was class from Cian, our Euro correspondent, and we will be getting into the England game later on when we ask on the big question, what changes would you make to the side? away from the international stage, let's go on to some funny stories. Celtic, right?
It's always a fucking funny story when you start it with that one.
They will face Danish Super League runners-up Michelin in the Champions League second qualifying round. The first leg will be on the 20th or 21st of July, and the return leg the following week. I remember we beat them. Was it last year or the year before?
Aye. I actually thought it was a team from Mon neck of the woods. I thought it was Midgetland.
Midgetland up front tonight. Midgetland have got Toll and Purden. What do you think, Toll? It's not the nicest fixture for you, that.
Do you know what? It's the best of a bad bunch, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That was a tough group that we had to be drawn out of. But even if we do beat them, have you seen the lineup for the next round?
I've not seen it. Enlighten me.
See if Celtic make it into the Champions League this season.
Yes.
Ange Postecoglou should get a fucking statue outside the stadium already. I'm telling you that right now.
What's some of the names getting bandied about for the next round?
Mate, it's mental, honestly. Even if we get by Midgetland, then...
Midgetland?
I don't know how you pronounce their name.
No, I'm not laughing at you pronounced it. I just keep thinking the Midgetland every time you say it.
If we get by them, then in the next round we've got PSV Eindhoven, potentially Galatasaray, Sparta Prague again, who we don't want anything to do with, Genk, and then if we get by that, we've got Shakhtar Donetsk, Monaco, fucking, oh mate, it's a
I think what you're saying, mate, is it's pretty accurate that maybe if Big Ange does get you out of Champions League with that kind of route, there should be a statue outside Celtic Park. Is that
definitely, without a doubt. However,
in the Conference League, Aberdeen will face Häcken of Sweden, and Hibernian will play Mons Kalp of Gibraltar or Andorra's Santa Coloma. Both will be at home in the second qualifying round on July the 22nd, with a return leg a week after.
That Aberdeen draw, do you remember in Football Manager you used to sign Tim Chalstrom off the Häcken?
Aye.
That's the only reason. That's the only reason how I know that team. But that seems like a decent draw for the boys there, for their teams. So fingers crossed we can maybe we should be looking to get a decent run in the Conference League, shouldn't we? The Scottish teams.
Aye, hopefully, definitely. Man. Hopefully. It would be good for the Scottish game, obviously, if you do get the likes of Aberdeen and Hibs going further in these kind of competitions. But in other news, Toll,
tell me.
Celtic centre-half Eric Sviatchenko, the 29-year-old, who went back to captain First Club Midgetland in 2018, could be set for a return to the Scottish Premiership club. Would you have him back, Toll?
Mate, he shouldn't have been sold in the first place.
I remember when Ronnie Dyler was there and we beat his in the cup semi-final.
He scored that
what a header.
While we're
recording, the Euros are on, people. It's Thursday evening, and Denmark are winning 1-0, and Denmark nearly went 2-0 up. It's 34 minutes gone. Anyway, what a header that was. What's your name?
It was some header, wasn't it? And he rose like a salmon.
Would you have him back then? I
would have him back. I always liked Sviatchenko when he was at Celtic Park, and it was quite a surprise that we let him go, if I'm honest with you.
I seen him no long ago when we beat Midgetland. He played.
I wish I'd never said that now.
The way he played for Midgetland that night, I hope he's getting back, mate.
Is that right?
Aye, I do.
He can't be any worse than Duffy, can he?
That's true, actually. That's true. We won't get into that. Duffy's. That's in the past now, mate. I don't want to keep opening old wounds up for you, know what I mean? But there we go. Sviatchenko maybe on his way back, and Toll would have him back. My club, Rangers, at the moment, it's all quiet. Not really much to report there. But there will be more football chat on the open line later, and I'm sure there'll be more Scotland chat as well. And we'll be playing for pies in the player profile playoff. And we welcome a man who currently plays at Thistle but has had spells at Aberdeen, Ross County, Rangers and St Johnstone. It's none other than Richard Foster.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Been involved in a road traffic accident? Call them now on 01698 767 172.
Foots, at Football Daft, we are very proud to be sponsored by G4 Claims, because they're just cool people, aren't they, Trips?
Yeah.
They're cool people. We love them. We love them. So remember, if you've been in a road traffic accident and you're not at fault, G4 Claims can make it easy for you. They can provide you with the complete accident management support you require. They'll recover their costs from the at-fault party, sort you out with a like-for-like vehicle replacement, and they will also organise your vehicle to be repaired at one of their approved body shops and returned to you. Should your vehicle be deemed a write-off, they will recover the pre-accident value for your car and write you a big fat cheque for it. And best of all, it won't cost you a penny, as they charge the at-fault insurance direct. G4 Claims don't cold call, they don't buy data, and once they have processed your claim, your insurance will remain unscathed. And the best thing is, Nicole and the team over there won't take on your case if they don't think they can help. So, if you have been in a road traffic accident or know someone that has, get on to G4 Claims on 01698 767 172. That's 01698 767 172, or get them at notatfaultclaim.com, or find them on social media at G4 Claims Limited. G4 Claims, Not at Fault Claims,
made easy.
Welcome to the Football Daft Open Line. You know the drill. Anything goes on this open line. Who's going to win the Euros? Stephen Purden. Italy. Chris Toll.
Scotland.
Could Scotland play David Marshall in midfield? Chris Toll.
Yes.
Stephen Purden.
I don't want to talk about David Marshall.
Right. And who is the best at singing their national anthem? Can I just put a shout out for Stephen O'Donnell? I know he had a terrible game against Czech Republic, but he's got the voice of an angel. Honestly, see if you hear him, like, go back and listen to the national anthem. They're playing against Holland, and we're watching the national anthem. My wife's kind of half Dutch, and we're watching the national anthem. She goes, "Who is it?" Well, she was quite attracted to Stephen O'Donnell. She goes, "I tell you what, he's a great singer, that boy." Next time you hear the anthems, look out for the good singers, because there's some. We do the X Factor of national.
But what you never heard her saying under her breath was, he's got some size of Bobby.
Come on now, Christopher, lowering the tone.
Listen, at the end of the day, he's not Tina Turner, alright?
Well, that's true. Let's go to London. And live from London, we have a member of the Tartan Army who is also the voice of Falkirk TV, who's coming onto the show. He's got a ticket for Wembley, and he's been on the train all day. It is Mr. Lewis Connolly. How you doing, Lewis?
I'm good, John. Yourself?
Lewis, you sound awfully sober for being on a train going down to London for the Scotland England game.
It's been a wee hour of downtime. It's been the kind of calm before the storm. Put it that way.
So let's how was the train on the way down?
It was bedlam, mate. Honestly, it's, on one hand, I have to say before we start, well done at the police. It was a really common sense approach. You know what I mean? They get a wee bit of stick sometimes, but they did really well. On one hand, you need to kind of look after all the restrictions and distancing and all that stuff, and on the other hand, you've basically got 600 Scottish boys on a train who've been locked up for a year, right? And it was party train. It was just carnage. It really was. To be fair, the only wee bit kind of thing they had to deal with, they had to speak to 3 young lads at one point because, unfortunately, it did appear that they were sober. But apart from that, there was no issue whatsoever, right?
I seen a video today. One of the groups of young boys that have went down to London for the game, and one of them must have took about 40 eckies because his jaw was swinging like nothing you've ever seen before, and he's getting interviewed on the telly too. He's like, we bring the atmosphere, no?
There's a few casualties coming off the train, I tell you. There's a few that'll not make the rest of the night.
You look alright, but Lewis, you look, you're pretty good, Nick.
I've just stuck to one thing, so I'm alright.
But see, when he got on the train, Stevie, he had a full head of hair.
Lewis, we're putting this is be going out tomorrow. We're recording on a Thursday just now. Where's everybody heading before the game? Has there been? I've heard Hyde Park. I've heard there's a fan zone. Where's the chat for the Tartan Army?
Yeah, no, that's pretty much right, John. I think it's very different this time. So the last few times I've been down here, obviously the tradition is you kind of come in, you take over Trafalgar Square, you know, and that's a kind of always a gathering point. This time I think it's a ticketed fan zone for English key workers, so it's a no-go, and everyone's kind of had to, you know, splinter off into wee groups. But you're right, I think there's talk of Hyde Park. I don't know how, you know, the kind of locals down here will feel about that, but
fuck them, mate. Fuck them.
Do you know, there's a wee map on Google, all the pubs the boys have booked, and it's the whole city centre of London. So this time, I think it's like a proper scattergun approach, but there will be a wee gathering in Hyde Park.
Tell me this one, Lewis.
Go for it.
You go into Hyde Park, go to the fountain in Hyde Park, buy yourself a bottle of Fairy Liquid.
Fairy Liquid, aye, yep.
Do it, my man. I want to see it on. I want to see it on the news.
It's tradition. It's tradition, you know what I mean? Okay, it's always a good laugh, eh? And mostly, like, the guys and girls are well behaved. You know, it's a bit of banter, a bit of a laugh, and usually it's stuff like that. It's just for a bit of fun.
What's the plan tonight, Lewis?
Say again, the plan. We've got a couple of boozers booked later on, so I've got a few mates arriving, probably in the next half hour or so. That's why I thought maybe a wee tactical hour at the hotel just to dump the stuff and just kind of calm down a bit would be a good idea. And then, yeah, I think we're there to about, I think it's 11 o'clock because it's slightly earlier closing down here.
Yeah.
So we'll get 3 or 4 hours in the pubs, and then match day tomorrow, the big one. So
I guess we should probably talk about the football.
Do we need to, John? Do we need to?
Unfortunately, we're going to be
usually the worst bit of the trip.
I know.
We're
going to be asking the big question later on, Lewis. What changes you would make from the side that started on Monday? What would you go with?
I think the big thing for me was probably when we went 2 men up front in the last game against the Czechs. It seemed to make a difference to me. And when we brought on Fraser and Forrest, guys who would actually run at the opposition, we seemed to get even better. So I think there's a strong case that at least 1 or 2 of them might come in. I think you have to say there's also a big case for Billy Gilmore. I think it would be a bold move. It's whether Stevie Clark wants to throw him into that environment. I think he's done well. But I could see at least one of Forrest or Fraser coming in. And the key thing is he going to start with Adams and go 2 up front, or will he play it a wee bit cagey? That's probably the big question.
Got to go for it. We've got to go for it.
Oh, you've got to win now because we've lost against the Czechs. It's win or bust, right? So, you know what? I guess because of the way it's working, if we get a point tomorrow and then beat Croatia back at Hampden, you might go through as one of the best third place teams. You know, 4 points is probably going to be enough, but you can't go out with the attitude of, you know, let's hopefully get a draw, because inevitably you'll get nothing.
Would you start O'Donnell tomorrow night, Lewis?
Do you know, I'm hearing a lot of good stories about the lad Patterson. I'll be totally honest, I've not seen too much of him.
He's fucking brilliant.
I've got a few pals who've got to kind of, obviously they're that persuasion, they've got season tickets through Ibrox and stuff, and they've been raving about this boy. The little bits that I have seen of him, I think he looks kind of like he's got good composure. He's playing like a kind of old head on young shoulders kind of thing.
And it reminds me a lot of Kieran Tierney, to be honest with you.
Really?
It really does, aye. It reminds me a lot of Kieran Tierney.
If he's good enough, he's old enough. That's the way I look at
it. I think with it being harsh, we've got to a point now where, I think, Toll, you were saying it earlier, there's no room for sentiment. You're saying if you're good enough, you're old enough. I think the problem is, as well, is I don't think O'Donnell's good enough.
Yeah.
I don't think he is.
Which means he's not old enough.
Lewis, thank you so much for coming on. Listen,
no worries, guys.
On to you any longer. Enjoy your night, and we won't. I know you're a Falkirk supporter. We won't get into that because that would just be horrible and ruin your night. So, thanks for coming on, mate.
No worries.
Thanks, Lewis.
Everyone for the boys that couldn't make it. Have a few for the boys that couldn't make it.
Deal. That is a deal, man. All the best,
Cheers,
boys.
Mate.
Cheers, boys.
See you later.
Right, thanks, Lewis. Let's move on to our next caller on the open line, and it is Stephen Maguire.
Yeah, Stephen, how you doing, mate?
All right, man. How's it going?
What a goal. As we record this, it's Thursday afternoon. Belgium have just equalised. Eden Hazard's brother.
Thornton.
Do you know what, boys? You are doing a score update. Everyone, when this goes out, is going to go, it was fucking whatever score it was on fucking Sky Sports News.
How are you doing, Stevie boy?
I know bad, mate. Yourself?
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. What's happening?
I actually rushed in for my work, put on a Scotland hat because I've still got my works gear on, and try to kind of get in the spirit of the game, even though obviously this will be going out after the game tomorrow, isn't it? Is that right?
I'll be
just before the game.
Just before it, all right. So we get to talk about with the team you would play and all that.
Aye.
Nice.
Go on, Stevie. What you want to say, pal?
Well, obviously you know why I contacted you, sir, today with the music and stuff like that.
Enlighten everybody else, Stevie.
Aye, right. So basically, I got one of my mates suggested. I used to be a kind of a budding musician, and then I realised that there's no money in show business.
Unless you're Stephen Purdy, unless you're
no, he's laughing for a reason. Aye, so I just obviously went back into my trade, and but people are still writing songs and stuff like that. And somebody suggested to me that I should write a song for the Euros. So I kind of hummed and hawed over it, and then I decided, all right, I'll go for it. But I didn't want to sing it because when I sing, I'm not a bad singer, but when I sing, I don't sing with that kind of Scottish, grunt. There's that the brogue.
Do you put an American accent on?
No, not as bad as that, bud. No, not as bad as that. But I certainly don't sing like a Scottish person. I know that sounds daft, but I'm not like the Proclaimers or whatever. But my big mate, he sings Scottish folk music, so I asked him to sing on it, and he agreed. So the song is sung by a big guy called Papa Shandy.
Love that name. That name.
He was.
Used to be a wrestler.
Papa Shango. Big boy Papa Shandy. He agreed to sing on it, and I said, right, well, I'll finish writing it. So I wrote it, and it actually turned out pretty good. So I've got a load of pals that are involved with a mental health charity up in Drumchapel.
Yes.
And it's all about kind of suicide prevention and stuff like that. And it's really about men's mental health. It's about getting guys talking to each other. It's not really, as much as it's a charity, it's like a social group of guys where you can go up and you can just vent yourself, you know what I mean? And just say whether you're annoyed at something or whatever, or anything that's on your mind, man, you can just somewhere to go, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of people weren't talking, and these boys set this up. So I said to them, well, if I release this and it makes any money, then you just can have half the dough, and I'll give the other half of the money to the boys that are playing on it. So we released it, but we've struggled to get kind of mainstream coverage. We managed to get it. It was one play on Clyde One. We got one play on that. Mm-hmm. And we managed to get to number one top sellers on Amazon, which was pretty.
Right.
I know
that's excellent,
mate. I thought that was a good achievement as well, man. But and that was just through word of mouth, and because we think it's a good song, you know what I mean?
What's the name of the song, Stephen?
Right, it's called Scotland the Strong, and it's by Papa Shandy. It's on Amazon.
Spotify.
Aye, it's on Spotify, man, for streaming. But see if punters want to kind of spend a 69p or whatever it is, that money goes to the mental health charities. You know what I mean? But listen, see, for me, for my own ego, right, it would be great to hear Scotland fans singing it. It's a kind of chant. Do you know what I mean? So it'd be great for that. That was the kind of aim when I wrote it. I wrote it as a song that see, most of the stuff that we hear, Scotland songs are jokey. They're all, kind of tongue in cheek.
Aye, you're right, by the way. That was my point about the La Fontaine song last week.
Oh, aye. It's all very stereotypical, taking the piss out ourselves and kind of tongue-in-cheek joke stuff that people always associate with Scots who aren't the Scots. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
So the thing is, if you're saying yours is kind of away for that, mate, that would be a welcome fucking change. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, man. You've nailed it there, right? You've totally nailed it. Because, see, to be honest, I'm sick of Scotland looking like the fucking court jesters of international football. We've got a good side, don't we?
Aye, our manager's doing a good job of making us look like that, for fuck's sake.
I take it you never called the team last week, no?
Aye, no, certainly not.
Everybody seems to blame it on O'Donnell. O'Donnell seemed to be the fall guy for it all, but I can't just totally blame that guy. Do you know what I mean? I can't blame him for everything.
He's not the only one to blame, mate. It's the guy to blame for O'Donnell getting the abuse is Steve Clark, because I don't think O'Donnell should have really been in the team at that time. You know what I mean? So
well, getting on to the football side of things, the style of football I'd have played, I would have obviously with a fit Tierney, I'd play three. It's like a 5-3-2, but your two fullbacks are wingers and all. Do you know what I mean?
Aye.
So you've got the strength there with if you play three centre halves, right, and then so you play Tierney to the left hand side of that. He covers Robertson, get up that wing.
Oh, aye.
And then you play the boy Patterson on the right hand side because he offers something going forward.
Aye.
But I don't know. I'd throw a major curveball in. I quite like Nisbet. I'd have played Nisbet up front.
Nisbet is a good player, man.
Nisbet and Adams together.
Well, here's the thing, mate. Right, so you've got two options with Adams, right? But because Dykes isn't a striker as such, right? See, to me, he falls in the hole and knocks the ball on, right? He wins everything in the air, Dykes. That's what he's good at.
The thing is, but we're playing England, and I think Harry Maguire is Maguire fit?
No, I don't think so, is he?
I think he's not.
I'll be Mings.
I will. Do you know what? If Mings is playing, then I maybe play Shea Adams because I think he's quite easily bossed.
Aye.
But if Maguire was playing, I would have had Adams and Nisbet up front because the two young, like smaller, nippy strikers, they could pull them all over the place, and that then opens up the defence for the midfield runners. You know,
Nisbet's a better football player than Dykes. Do you know what I mean?
I'm a better football player than Dykes, for fuck's sake.
I think Dykes is just kind of, I don't know, man.
He's a big bar ram, isn't he?
Aye, it just sometimes encourages us to play a certain way if you know you've got him up there.
He offers you a different option, didn't he?
But we never used it.
I know
that was the annoying thing, because see, really with Christie on right, which really was a surprise for everybody, Christie getting a game right, but he just went loyal with the boys that took him there. But see with Christie on, I think what you're looking for with Christie on alongside Dykes is for him to step into there and Christie to go by him. That's what you're looking for, but that never happened in that whole game, and it was frustrating. But obviously now you've got the option. Seeing Nisbet in the warm-up game where he kind of pulls round the back and he gets in behind the striker.
Aye.
And then you've got Robertson crossing the ball. If that's just a perfect goal to me. And
it was
honestly,
a lovely goal. It was a lovely goal, man.
But I can't see guys like Mings we're talking about. That guy will win a ball all day long in the air. But I don't think if you play it in behind him, I think he'll struggle.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd play Nisbet.
And mate, if we're doing that before the fucking game, we want the Scotland fans that are doing there fucking chanting your song out.
Well, that's
That's
the dream, man. That's the dream.
Stevie, thanks very much for coming on the show. Just tell everyone again what the name of the song is and where they can get it.
Right, it's called Scotland is Strong. It's by Papa Shandy. You can get it on Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, all the other things. All right, man, but no one played one.
Best of luck, Stevie. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks,
Cheers, lads. Cheers.
Cheerio.
Bye.
So thanks for Stevie for coming on. Remember, go out and buy the single if you can. Let's go to our final caller on the open line. And it is Craig who wants to come on and talk about something he's doing for charity.
All right, guys. How are you?
Not bad, mate. Not bad.
2-1, Belgium.
Oh, right.
So thanks for coming on, Craig. Right, take care, mate.
Honestly, Sky Sports Centre here go. Right, do you want to, let's go over to Chris. We've got a goal coming in for Chris. Chris, what happened? Talk us through it.
I don't know. Right, Craig, thanks very much for coming on. Sorry it took so long, mate. I'll be absolutely perfectly honest. I forgot about you. I'm not going to lie. But if you want to give us a wee rundown of is it 1,000 goal challenge?
It was 100 miles, mate. So
100 miles.
to raise money for motor neuron disease, I walked 100 miles in May to try and raise money for charity. Motor neuron disease is, at the moment, it's affecting millions of people a year, and there's no cure, and there's not even any certified treatment. So, just to give you a wee bit of background, a colleague that I worked with unfortunately died of motor neuron disease last year. And that kind of half spurred me into action. And then another friend of mine, his son, 23 years old, was unfortunately diagnosed with it as well. So that was the final straw, if you like. I was like, right, I need to do something about this.
You know what? I think it's a cause close to a lot of football fans' hearts. You know, Hearts, Celtic, and Rangers have all lost legends to the disease, and it's such a horrible, debilitating disease. I think anything that can be done to raise funds for it is definitely. I'd doff my cap to you, Craig, without doubt, mate.
Absolutely. How can people get involved, Craig? Where do they have to go to donate or sign up?
Well, I've already completed the challenge, but they can still go and donate. They just go to my Just Giving page. So if they go to the Just Giving site, it's Craig's 100 miles in May, and they can donate there.
Excellent, mate.
Oh, mate.
I believe
more power to you, mate. It's amazing what you're doing, because it is. I mean, obviously, the world we live in now, there has to be a point where there is a treatment for it, and there's a way of curing this and getting to the bottom.
Especially when you look at the fact that there was a virus and they got a vaccine out for it straight away. You know, you need to think that maybe not enough work's being done to try and combat this disease.
Exactly, Chris. It shows you when they put their mind to it exactly what can be achieved.
Yes, 100%, mate. I agree with that, 100%.
Listen, thank you so much for coming on the Open Line, Craig, and making us aware of everything you're doing, and best of luck with any sort of fundraising you're doing in the future, and hopefully we can get more money into your fundraising efforts for the 100 Mile Challenge.
No problem. Thank you very much, guys, and thanks
a lot, Craig.
Keep up the good
You're welcome. All the best, mate.
Craig, thank you.
Cheers, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, mate.
And that is it for the Open Line for this week. If you want to be on next week, keep an eye on our Twitter, or why not sign up for our Patreon? You'll get the first chance to get on if you sign up there. Patreon.com/Football Daft, where you will also find Scotland Daft, our bonus podcast that we've got going on at the moment.
Football Daft's big question.
Right, Christopher Toll.
Yes.
The Euros didn't start for Scotland how we would have liked, did it?
No.
It was a pretty deflating result against the Czechs. But we go again tomorrow night against the old enemy.
I hate that phrase. We
go again. Mark Warburton-esque. We go again. And now it's the big one. St Andrew versus St George. Haggis versus jellied eels. Lewis Capaldi v Sam Smith. Yes, sir, I can boogie v Three Lions. It's Scotland v England. But what changes would you make to the side? That, Toll, is the big question this week. What changes would you make?
For me, I'd start Robertson. Right, no.
Would you change the manager before the game?
I don't know if Celtic board are bringing the next one in. No, maybe if a new manager in for the World Cup starting. No, but, for me, it's got to be Patterson in for O'Donnell. If you're going to play McTominay at centre half halfway through the game, you might as well start him there and bring in Billy Gilmore in midfield. I would swap Armstrong for Turnbull.
Wow.
The reason being, although he had that shot that almost went in, I thought he was a passenger for a lot of the game. Armstrong, I really did.
Especially
and I like
the first half.
I really do like Stuart Armstrong as a player. So it's not a case of me wanting a Celtic player and ahead of him. It's a case of like we spoke about earlier, Stephen. The fearlessness, the youthful exuberance.
Aye, I get that.
Exactly. You know, so for me, it's got to be bring a wee bit of freshness to it. I would also have Shea Adams up front and drop Ryan Christie. So that would be what I would do. I know before the tournament started, I was rabbiting a lot of shite, but I think that would be.
No, but mate, that was a bit of banter before the tournament started. Fucking Steve Clark was rabbiting a lot of shite in the Red out his team lineup before the Czech Republic game. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. But I thought Liam Cooper had a decent game. I thought, with the exception of the Czechs' first goal, I thought Grant Hanley played quite well.
I think Hanley did do all right, to be fair. I think he did. He surprised me because I'm not his biggest fan. I think
no, neither am I, but he's a different player now than he was before, I'll say. From what I've seen, I think he's obviously got that bit of responsibility with taking over the Norwich captaincy.
Yeah.
It's brought him on as a player.
Yeah. Definitely. But I've got a feeling, reading comments that have came out for the Scotland camp for your Steve Clark, the manager, what he said about O'Donnell, praising him almost.
He's going to start him, isn't he? He's going to
stick to his guns. I think he might make a change in the middle of the park, but I don't think he'll play Patterson. I've got a feeling O'Donnell will start against England.
I'll tell you this now, see if O'Donnell starts against England, he's on a hiding to nothing.
Aye, definitely.
Because he'll get torn to ribbons, especially if they play Raheem Sterling on the left-hand side.
100%.
He will be chasing shadows.
And his average kind of got the job done performance England put in against Croatia, I thought, along with the boy in the middle, Phillips, for Leeds, I thought Sterling had probably his best game he's had
in a long
calendar year.
In a long time.
For club and country, because obviously I don't know if he's had a fallout with Pep or something, but he's not been doing it or getting a game for City, but he looked like he was enjoying himself out there. And if you've got O'Donnell there, I think Sterling will absolutely tear him to
Exactly. I had a few bob on Sterling for the first goal in the Champions League final, and he never got it. And then I never bet him for the first goal in that England game.
And he got it.
Whether you know,
There we go. But let's get to some of the listeners. Richie has said Patterson in, although I thought O'Donnell did okay. But
what game is this guy watching?
But Patterson will give a lot more quality on the ball. Adams in for Christie, and even if Tierney's injured, play him.
I can't take that. Mick comes in saying, drop Marshall. He was as far up the park for the second goal as he was almost in fucking Asda.
I preferred the one they're saying, I've not seen a MD out their box that much since the Archies was opened.
He says, drop Christie for Adams. I think that's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah.
And drop O'Donnell for Patterson. I can see a lot of people saying the same stuff here as us, Stevie.
Yeah, definitely. John has said, is the manager an option? Guy's a nightmare. Out of form Christie over Turnbull, a rotten O'Donnell over Patterson, and we are down 2-0. He thinks, I know what will lift the crowd. A young Champions League winner? Nah, Callum McGregor, get your boots on, son. Useless. Fair point.
I'll agree with him there because Callum McGregor hasn't kicked a ball all season. No. So, like I said, I think
there's players on form.
Exactly. And Ryan Christie must have voodoo dolls a folk in his bedroom, because how that boy walks into every team is beyond me. And I know that we had his dad on the show, and I know his dad tried to explain it, but I'm sorry. He's not kicked a ball for nearly 18 months, and I'm sick of the fucking sight of him, to be perfectly honest with you.
And then the rotten luck the guy's got when he gets the ball and goes on quite a good run and looks like he's going somewhere. O'Donnell fucking absolutely shoulder barges him out the way. You know what I mean?
Aye, it's like something out of fucking wrestling, wasn't it?
Aye.
Anyway, Gow says Patterson or Forrest to right wing back. Grado up top with Adams. Gilmore's the best player Scotland have to start in place of anyone.
Well, I don't know. I think Grado will be busy, but maybe the rest.
He's filming 2 doors down.
Exactly. Andy Stevenson says O'Donnell out, Patterson in, Armstrong out, Gilmore in, Christie out, Adams in, Marshall out, Gordon/McLaughlin in, Tierney if he's fit, in for any of the centre backs. That's pretty much what you were saying, Tol.
With the exception of
Aye, with section at the end bit with McLaughlin and Gordon. And, aye.
Barry says Gordon in for Marshall, Patterson in for O'Donnell, Gilmer in for Hendry, Fraser for Armstrong, Forrest for Christie, Adams for Dykes.
Fair enough.
I think, you know, we're all sitting here on the couch watching this and we can see what's staring out.
Aye,
you know?
Exactly. But I just think Clark's got to stick to his guns. I quite like what Will said. Will has got in touch and says, tell O'Donnell the game is on Saturday. That's quite good.
John says drop Armstrong for Gilmer and O'Donnell for Fraser.
O'Donnell for Fraser. Andy says fight them instead of football seems like the best option.
Shug and Mug says the manager. I'd play Marshall in goals, not centre mid.
And Andy, the last caller to get in touch, or Twitter, whatever you want to call him, says Ricky Little up front.
That's not Andy, that's Grado's burner account, isn't it?
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Find them on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram at G4 Claims Limited.
It's the Player Profile Playoff with piesports.com, bringing you the taste of pies to your door throughout the Euros. You know, there's nothing better than kicking back at night, watching one of the games, sticking a wee pie in the oven halfway through the first half and it being ready for you at half-time. Absolutely love it. And Pie Sports can sort you out. My personal favourite, the dugout that's up there at the moment, 4 Scotch pies, 4 chili pies and 2 cheesy bean bad boys. Fantastic. You can get them by heading to their website or you can give them a call 0141 739 9999, 0141 739 9999. They'll deliver free of charge to lots of areas across Scotland, so check out their website for details. Now, every week on Football Daft, we invite one of our dear listeners on to play against one of the boys for the pies, and this week we welcome a man who's been on Celtic Daft, which you can hear on our Patreon, patreon.com/football daft. Get the plug in there. It is Big Kev the Chef. How you doing, Kev?
Not bad, guys. Cheers for having us again. How are you?
All right, mate. Good, thanks for coming on.
All good, my man.
My pleasure.
Right, well, listen, we're switching up a wee bit, boys. Normally we play this game, it's Scottish Premiership players. The last couple of weeks we've been doing the Euro players. I thought it could be the last chance we get to do this. So I thought we'd focus on Scotland players this week. And that would be Scotland players that are in the Scottish Hall of Fame, which is 50 caps and above, okay?
Oh.
So I am going to flip a coin and see who you're playing. Kev, heads it's Stephen, tails it's Chris. Heads it's Stephen.
Oh,
Queen Stephen, right.
Rangers Daft v Celtic Daft, right enough here.
That's it. Pair of fucking
It's all about
dafties.
Scotland here, mate. All about
I know,
Scotland,
mate.
Exactly. All
You're
United.
right.
Here we go, Ren, right. First player.
Need our buzzers.
We need your buzzer. We need your buzzer. What are you going for, Stephen?
Big Chef.
Big Chef. Kev.
I'll go McFadden.
Right. Like it. Here we go then. First player out. Right, you ready for this? I think these will be pretty quick today. This centre half is one of 2 players to win 69 caps for Scotland. Stephen.
Hall of Fame. Davy Weir.
It could have been 1 or 2. You got the right. Davy Weir.
Is the other one Roy Aitken?
Quick.
I think you might be right, because I didn't double check that, but I think you might be right. Wow. Right, here we go.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Fucking hell.
Stand by on this one. Stand by on this one. I can't believe it. Stand by, right? You might get this in the first 3 words, right? This Celtic maestro won 6.
Oh, Kev, you fucked with me.
I think Stephen got in there first.
Aye,
Sorry. Who is it?
Phil McStay.
You're right.
You might have changed the fucking word.
You hear that, John? You might have changed the fucking words.
Oh,
You'd have been as well saying Paul McStay at the start of that.
I'd just been better stalling with my arse bent there, wouldn't I?
Oh, so sorry.
Unbelievable. Don't worry about it, mate. That's the name of the game, isn't it?
Oh, name of the game.
By the way, that was impressive, pardon. I have to
Imagine winning it on a Celtic player, you are.
It makes it even more sweeter, mate.
Brilliant. Superb. Listen, Kev, unlucky. We'll be back. with more pies to give away next week, and hopefully we can play the Scotland game again. So Scotland still be in the Euros. Fingers crossed. Come on.
I fucking hope so.
Right, so John, using the internet without express VPNs, like taking a call on a train or bus on speakerphone. We hate they people, don't we?
Oh, it's those people that just... I don't understand it. They walk about the streets with a loudspeaker on, or they're in the bus, and I don't need to hear your conversation.
I know, but the thing is, they're only listening to music. They're not getting their personal details taken. You know, ExpressVPN can help you protect yourself against that sort of thing. Everybody needs a VPN, right? Internet service providers like Virgin, like Sky, they know every single website that you visit. Your internet service provider can sell this information to ad companies and tech giants who then use your data to target you. Now, how many times have you had a phone call where supposedly you've been in an accident or something like that? Many times has that happened to you? Do you know how they get your number? They get your number through the internet. See, when you're filling in a wee form when you're maybe buying a sexy set of lingerie for your woman.
I do that all the time.
He said, no, or if you're on yourself, maybe buying yourself a wee some beard cream or something, beard wax, as I bought myself yesterday. Right? When you fill in that form, your ISP's got all that information and they can sell that information onto other companies. Now, that's no use. You don't want that to happen. So why use ExpressVPN? It creates a secure encrypted tunnel between your device and the internet so that people can't peep on what you're doing online. It's easy as fuck to use. All you need to do is fire up the app, click one button, and it's rated #1 by CNET, Wired, and The Verge. It works on phones, laptops, even routers, so everybody who shares your Wi-Fi would be protected if you put it through your router, or your router, depending what you call it. I'm a router man.
I'm a router man.
You're a router man. What about you, Stevie? Router or router?
Router.
Router, cool, okay. So...
You're for Coatbridge, but mate,
I know we've got different standards through this neck of the woods. So I personally use it, right, for the reasons that I've mentioned before, but also I use it because see when I'm on the old Netflix, see if I've watched everything on Netflix, I can then switch the country that I'm going through on ExpressVPN, and it opens up a whole new world to you through your Netflix. It's personally important to myself because I don't want folk knowing my phone number. I'm a very important person, you see. You know, I don't know if you know this, but I'm a VIP. I walk down the street. I can't walk down the street without folk going, Chris, give me your phone number. This stops them from sneaking it off the internet, okay? Mm-hmm. So, secure your online activity by visiting expressvpn.com/daft today. That's expressvpn.com/daft, and you can get an extra 3 months free. expressvpn.com/daft. Not at fault. VPNs made easy.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Been involved in a road traffic accident? Get them now at notatfaultclaims.com.
Right, let's welcome a man who's just won League One with Partick Thistle and has picked up silverware with Ross County and Rangers and starred for Aberdeen with over 250 appearances. It is none other than Richard Foster. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How are you guys?
Not bad. Thanks for joining us on a sunny day, sitting in front of your computer on a sunny day. I bet you're glad you agreed to this.
To be fair, I've just done my third day back pre-season, so my legs can't move anyway. So.
How's that going, mate?
It's been good. It's been tough. It's better than last year because obviously last year I had 9 months off and then had to go back into it, so that was tough. But this year we had 6 weeks off, which is more standard. So tiring, but achievable this year. But still, it's pre-season, so it's minging. My legs
You must be buzzing though, getting back into the championship, and folk could wrote you off halfway through the season. You know what I mean? So to come back and win the league was what an achievement, eh?
I think it was. I think, people had rightly written us off halfway through the season because the first half of the season we never won enough games, we never scored enough goals, and then that wee break probably helped us. Came back, and to be fair, the boys were excellent. Tiffany, Zach Rudd and Brian Graham led the line really well, and we basically just outscored most teams. Managed to keep a good few clean sheets as well, so it was good. It was good to end it on such a kind of positive run, and hopefully we take that into the champ this year.
It must have helped as well that Falkirk absolutely shat the bed.
It's one of the it's one of the biggest implosions I've ever seen.
Producer John at the top there is a big Falkirk man.
So he's a Falkirk supporter, so
I knew that was coming up. I knew that was going to come up, but I know they would absolutely shat the bed, Richard. So you were well worth it in the end. Absolutely well worth it in the end.
I think we obviously knew we were on a good run, but we thought at one point we were like, right, let's get ourselves ready for the playoffs. We're going to need to go up through the playoffs because we're not going to. I think we're not to rub it in, but we're 8 points behind Falkirk at one point. We finished 8 points ahead of them.
Was there not a night he's played Falkirk and absolutely spanked them 5-1 or something? Producer John, we were doing an interview, we were doing a podcast that day, and the game was coming on that night, and producer John actually said, I can't even watch this tonight. I'm not even watching it. And he was right, because you absolutely rattled him, didn't you?
That was the Thursday night. That's the night we won the league.
I went through the whole night. I was sitting there just texting John. There's another one in. There's another one in. There's another one in.
Anyway, sorry, John. Sorry about that, John.
All right.
Richard, so let's kick off with, obviously, the Euros. How are you enjoying the Euros?
It's actually been really nice to have football back on the TV. I know it's we've had that last season, but see football with fans, it makes such a difference. It does. Watching the Hungary game the other day, 67,000 fans there. It was just that's what, as a football player, that's why you want to play football. You want to play in front of stadiums. You want to play in front of fans. And last year was just weird, really, really strange. And the top teams, obviously, in Scotland and even England, I think England especially suffered because the games were just really quite flat. I thought most of them, whereas I thought in Scotland we still managed to get decent games for the most part.
I really enjoyed it, mate. I enjoyed last season. To be honest, I really enjoyed it. I mean,
I genuinely believe at the start of the season, I think having no fans probably helped Rangers.
I agree with you, Richard. The top team in Scotland definitely suffered. So, we'll move on to the next.
Sorry, mate, you broke up there, Todd. I didn't hear that there. Anyway,
once they started winning, I think it was kind of rubbish that they never got into Ibrox or whatever to see them. But can you imagine the Pelters of Celtic would have got if they had fans in?
Oof. Oh, that'd have been brilliant, man.
But like you're saying, though, Richard, I think it would have been a different story for both teams if there was fans, to be honest.
Well, I think it's maybe a bit disrespectful to Rangers to say that. I think initially it helped them. I think because Tavernier had come out before and said that sometimes the pressure at Ibrox is too much for them.
Yeah.
Like obviously the previous season.
Yep.
But once they started the way they did, I think they missed them just as much as Celtic would have, because Ibrox, when Rangers are doing well and everything, Ibrox is absolutely bouncing. I've played in it. I can testify to that. I've played against it. And similarly, I think no fans hindered Celtic at the start, but then the longer it went on, they were probably lucky that there was no fans in there, because it wouldn't have been a very hospitable atmosphere playing on that.
I know what you're saying there, but if that would have maybe forced the board's hand a wee bit quicker if the fans had been in the stadium.
What do you mean you'd have got a manager in like 90 days after you sacked man instead of 104?
Would I maybe get a manager in around about the 2nd of June or something like
that? Cool story, mate. Anyway, Richard, right?
I've got no sympathy for Celtic whatsoever, but because you lot went to fucking Dubai, our league get cancelled for another couple of months.
Well, listen, see if your league couldn't get cancelled, you wouldn't have fucking won it, so shut up.
All right, well, valid points on both sides there, valid points. But guys, just break it up. Let's keep it nice. Know what I mean?
Sorry, Richard. Sorry, hands across America.
Anyway, Richard, on to other matters now. Scotland v Czech Republic. 20 odd years, we've not been to a tournament. We get there, we play Czech Republic in the first game. What do you make it?
I don't think they played well. I don't know. I think when I've watched the games leading up to it, apart from the Holland game, we can be quite passive for long spells in the game. And then I think when you play a team like the Czech Republic, with all respect, yes, they're ranking, I think they're slightly higher than us, but it's not a team you look at and go, oh my God, they're brilliant. And anytime we did actually put them under pressure, we did create and Robertson has a great chance, Dykes has a great chance, and we created other half chances. And everybody goes, oh, but what if? Well, what if the Czechs scored all their chances? Did it beat us 7-4? So
this is exactly what I said the other night, mate. I said this the other night, exactly what you're saying.
And I just think that's like Scotland in the past. I know that you can't go gung-ho, especially against teams like England and Croatia that we're going to face. But that one against the Czechs, where you pretty much need to win that, just go after them a wee bit and see how they respond. Whereas I think the first half was just both teams kind of feeling each other out, and then the second half they just kind of went, well, actually we can score here, and they did. Sometimes I think that we set up and we're a bit too passive.
Mate, I totally agree. I mean, you look at Wales, they had a go the other night, Wales, right? Even England, who didn't play that well in the first game, he still gained chances to young boys like Phillips, the young midfielder for Leeds and stuff. I believe a lot of our strongest players were on the bench in the first game, and I just don't know if Steve Clarke had the guts to go with a lot of the pressure that's coming for the fans, players that he wanted to play. But when you're looking at it, Richard, what changes would you have made to that team?
I really like Patterson. I really like Nathan Patterson. The games I've seen him in an Old Firm game, which I know is a difficult environment. Yes, granted, there's no fans, but you're playing against a good team, and I thought he was one of the best players in the park. And he doesn't seem like a guy. I don't know him, but he doesn't seem like someone who would be fazed by playing in the Euros. So I would have played him, and I know would have been slightly unfair to O'Donnell because he's kind of played there for the most part. But my big thing is Patterson. He hasn't played a lot of games. He doesn't have a lot of experience. But when the games he's played in a Rangers team who are top of the league, challenging for titles, playing in Europe. And instead we played a guy who has had an okay season at a really struggling Motherwell team. So I'm a big advocate of play the guys who are playing well now. Play the players who
totally agree with you.
Are in better form. And, and his experience... Well, how do you get experience? Well, you get a chance to play, and if you're good enough, you're old enough. I mean, I can't remember who it was that said that, but there's no true statement in football.
I mean, you're talking about a boy who, during the season there, he came in to replace arguably, the best player in the league last season before he got his injury, Tav. So, Nathan Patterson came in, especially the pressure he was under after the whole infamous COVID thing, and he comes in and scores a goal in Europe. Do you know what I mean?
Not just that, Stephen. He's come in and you've no missed having there.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. So
you've not missed him at all. To find a replacement for somebody that, like you said, is probably the most influential player in any team in the league, and then bring in this young boy with very little experience, and for him to completely replace him without missing a step, it's incredible. So I don't know, and I agree with you as well, Richard. See the whole. I don't think there's any room for sentiment when it comes to these tournaments, right? For me, Patterson should have been playing, regardless of how O'Donnell played in the qualifiers. International football, it should be judged on form. End of story. And that's where Scotland have fell down, and to a certain extent, that's where England have fell down in the past. You know what I mean? But Scotland, this is our time where we should be really having a go at it, I think.
I agree, and I think the Billy Gilmour one's slightly different for me because I've not seen much of him play. I mean, the games he has played, I think he played against Liverpool and he was excellent, and he's been kind of in and out, and obviously not a regular starter for Chelsea. But you're still, if you can go on the pitch and play against Liverpool and be one of the best players on the pitch against the midfielders that they had, you can play against the Czechs in Euro 2020, isn't it?
Of course. I'm. These youngsters as well, Patterson, Gilmour, even Turnbull to an extent, these players, they're quite fearless as well because they're young. I think they just give the team a lift. But these players, the substitutions Clarke made, they didn't even come onto the pitch. Do you know what I mean? It blows my mind.
The substitutions I found were strange. He made two at once, and I can't remember who came on. But for all the world, I think Ryan Fraser came on, and maybe I think he was after. Who did he put on?
Adams.
No, he put on. Anyway,
Alan McGregor.
I looked at it and thought, that's perfect. You've taken off Jack Henry, so go to a back four. with O'Donnell and Robertson fullbacks. You've got your 3 in midfield and play 3 up top. Shea Adams, Dykes, and I think it would have been Fraser at that point. But then he kept the same formation, just put McTominay back into defence. And I thought, well, that's no worked up to this point. Yes, we've kind of created half chances, but we're now 2-0 down and something drastic needs to happen. So, put on your attacking players, change your formation to, and I mean, let's be honest, 4-3-3 is a more attacking formation than 3-5-2, because for 3-5-2 to be attacking, you need to control the midfield, which we never done.
We never done. Aye, but anyway, how many are we taking off England tomorrow night?
15.
I'll take one and none against.
Aye, I know.
The thing is, it's almost a perfect game for Scotland now, because we are at our best when it's shit or bust, aren't we? You know what I mean? It's like backs up against the wall, right? We've got to go for it. And again, he's not going to go in there and play some expansive formation, because if you don't give England any respect, then you'll get spanked 5-0. But I just think that they'll have that extra, because it seemed like they had a lack of appetite almost for the first game. Maybe the occasion was a bit much for them, kind of nerves got, but I don't think they'll have that now. And I think if you have 10, 11 players on the pitch that are kind of just so desperate to win and do well and score goals, and I think we could give England, we're not going to dominate England with possession, but I think we can give them a scare if we go about it the right way.
Fingers crossed. It's one I'm looking forward to. Have a few beers, but I don't know. Fingers crossed. We'll see. But anyway, Richard, enough of that. On to yourself, mate. Right, on to your career, mate. That's enough of the Euros, man. You're an Elgin boy, aren't you?
I certainly am, yes.
So who did you support growing up?
I supported your mob growing up.
Aye? There we go.
I just up until I was 16, and then signed for Aberdeen, and then once you sign, I signed. So I'm not, I know plenty of guys who still play football and still support different teams, but once I signed for Aberdeen, I was very much an Aberdeen fan, because it was essentially in my best interest. And when I say fan, I'm just because they were my employer, basically, you kind of realise that, well, there's no point me supporting Rangers or Celtic because they're like rivals.
Of course, especially Rangers.
I found it from kind of like teenage years. I would have been a Rangers fan, and it worked out quite well, because it was me and my 2 pals, and I was Rangers, one was Celtic and one was Aberdeen. So there was a good bit of rivalry there. But yeah, so Rangers as a youngster, but then fell away from it as soon as I started playing.
Well, that's kind of Aberdeen Rangers, man. You don't really want to go up to Aberdeen and say you're a Rangers fan, do you?
No, you don't. What you also don't want to do is go on loan from Aberdeen to Rangers.
Probably not the best ideas.
That brings you a few problems.
So, when you were at Aberdeen, was Archie Knox there?
He was there when I came back from a loan spell.
Right, okay. So, were you... we've got a famous story in this podcast, haven't we, boys? With Archie Knox, Aberdeen. Who was it we had on that was telling the story? Mark Reynolds. There was a story Archie Knox was going around everybody in the dressing room, and they were either spunk or shitebag. Were you there, Richard?
Unfortunately, I wasn't there for that.
Oh, man. Because Mark Reynolds told the story.
That sounds like a shitebag to me, Stevie.
Check your records. I never played with Mark Reynolds, so
there we go. I didn't think that.
Actually, we were at Tynecastle, one of the games, and we're getting beat at half time. I think we're getting beat 1 or 2-0, and the away dressing room at Tynecastle used to be tiny, so it was really, really small, and there's like a physio bed in the middle. And we came in at half time, and he's like, "Oh, where the fuck were you at the second goal?" And I've argued back with him, and he's like, as if he's went to go for me. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy is in his 70s, like he's a way to go for me over this. So I was like, well, I'm not going to back down. So then obviously but then it was just like the bed that separated us, and it was almost like the two of us realised that we can't really be rolling about the floor here, because especially for me, because I'm thinking, this guy, he's an old guy. I could.
If I get battered off him, I'm never hearing the end yet.
Also in my mind, he was, I would imagine, to be fair, even then, he would have probably given me a good go right enough. It was just so funny. I was just so shocked by like the fact that he was that just, when you see someone and they take that step and you think, oh, okay, right, this could be on here. Other than that, I got on really well, actually.
That was what I was going to say. What was it like to play under him and Craig Brown? Well, it must have been a decent laugh at least.
It was brilliant. Craig Brown made me captain. So we went back pre-season. I was captain for 6 months. I was there, and so we'd go in and after games, and we'd have arguments. So you'd argue with Archie, and you'd be shouting and balling back and forth, and Craig tended to be the quieter one and the kind of, the pacifier most of the time. Aye. But then you'd walk out the office, and Archie would be like, "Are you get any plans at the weekend? What are you up to?" I just loved the fact that it was like, we'll argue about football, but then as soon as we're finished, it's done. I don't hold grudges. He doesn't dislike me because I question him. I don't dislike him because he shouted at me, and that for me is just brilliant. Just the way to manage players that, we're both passionate about what we're doing, but it's on the training pitch, on the pitch. Things said and done, but you don't mean it's not, and then you come off and you can just chat normal. And I met him on a night out one time. He was in the West End. He was at Ashton Lane, and we walked into a pub and he was there, and I was chatting away to him, and he was brand new. So he's one of those kind of old school coaches, managers that you'll shout and scream at you, but they don't hold grudges, and that's the way you need to be. That's
the best way. It's like at the end of the day, you're still human beings. Do you know what I mean? So you don't want to hold grudges about if you've maybe had an opinion about tactics or something, have a thought. There's no point in holding grudges about that. Do you know what I mean?
I know, but it's stupid, really. Why would I challenge Archie Knox about football? He's got more knowledge in one finger than I do in my whole body, but.
Well, you played under a few guys at Aberdeen, Richard, like Eb Scovdale, Jimmy Calderwood, Mark McGee. Who's your favourite to work with?
I had a few fallouts with Jimmy Calderwood, but probably Jimmy Calderwood because he was there the longest, and I played a lot of games under him. I played a load of different positions, but you realise that you could trust him in different positions. So probably him, and a few of the season we finished third. Really good season. We finished fourth a couple of times, and we were always really fit and quick. And I kind of liked it as well because the training was quite structured in a way that you'd go back pre-season, and you would know what you're doing the full week, and then the next pre-season it would be the same. You know what I mean? So you kind of see when you go back and see the unknown as a football player. It's awful, especially pre-season. You think, "Oh, geez, what we getting today? Whereas when you knew what it was, and I kind of liked that, and a lot of his training was similar. But yeah, probably the most enjoyable times were with Jimmy Calderwood.
Who was it? Jamie Langfield we had on the show.
I was going to say that. But yeah, Jamie Langfield stag do.
No, I heard about it. And one of my other mates, Lee Mayer, I think he was Jamie's best man. And I think the start of his best man speech, he just stood up and held up the paper. Picture of Jamie in the front, pissed himself, sitting outside this bar, fucking arguing with Jimmy Calderwood.
So what was, obviously you said that you had a few run-ins with Jimmy. What was, like, Richard, you're getting a bit of a reputation, you're squaring up to Archie Knox and you're having run-ins with Jimmy Calderwood, know what I mean? What was it like with Jimmy?
Better never fucked about with Walter Smith, did you?
We'll get to that maybe later.
Not one word I said against him. He could still batter me.
What about Jimmy Calderwood when you had your run-ins with him? What was that like?
It was just like I would say, I'd react to things in training and I'd kind of tell him to fuck off and whatever. And he was the same. As soon as you went in to see him, I went, "Gaffer, look, sorry, fine, done and dusted." And he left me out of the game because I was raging. But then I thought, that way you think, if I go in here and say sorry, he's just going to go, that's all. He's doing that just so he plays the next day.
Aye.
So I was kind of caught between still being raging and also going, nah, I'm not going in because it looks shit. So then I went in on a Monday, played the next game, and he says that's all. Basically, if you'd came in and seen me straight away, you'd have played. And I think he was just basically, and he said to me, and it was one of the best things I've ever heard. He says, sometimes what you're saying, you might be right. He says, but I'm the manager. So if he's saying something against me, then that's on him basically, and he's a manager. I was like, you know what? That's actually a really good way to think about it. That it doesn't matter what I say and how much I piss and moan. You're a gaffer, so you can go on it.
Obviously, Aberdeen against Bayern in the Allianz Arena. What was that like, Richard?
It was incredible. I mean, the stadium was unbelievable. The pitch was a bowling green, which did not help us at all, because they were awesome. I think that they hit the. I'm pretty sure either we took centre and gave them the ball straight back, and they kept it for about 2.5 minutes. And I think Podolski hit the crossbar, and we were all just looking about as if going, "Oh shit, this is going to be a really, really long night." And I think it was 5-1 to them in the end. But I think it was. I think once they'd scored their 5, they were happy enough just to chill out, which kind of spared our blushes a little bit. But I mean, Van Bommel was incredible. Podolski, as I mentioned, Luca Toni, Lucio at the back. I mean, they had some team.
Lucio was a player, wasn't he?
Oh, aye.
So it was a great experience as a player. It's great to play in these games, but it's also an eye opener that you go, "Wow, these guys are so much better than me." But it's still great. I mean, I think they had Willie Sagnol at right back.
Who was it that tells the story about Willie Sagnol?
Jamie Langfield.
Jamie Langfield
Was it not that Jimmy Calderwood said that their weak link was Willie Sagnol?
That's right.
I just won the World Cup. You're all like that.
It can be got at.
Aye, you want to target him.
To be fair, it was probably like when you look at their team, you think, "Oh fuck, who do you target?" Like there was just nobody.
Exactly.
There was just no weak link. That was quite funny, him saying that, and all of us are going, brilliant, no worries.
No bother. So would you say that was a highlight of your career?
I don't know. I think last season, last season was is up there. The way it panned out. I think winning the League Cup with Ross County was also, because when you play at the smaller clubs, you don't expect to be getting to finals of tournaments. So I think probably winning the League Cup, closely followed by League One. But then, it's difficult to put them in order because playing for Aberdeen in Europe, I scored against FC Copenhagen in one of the games.
That's right.
These are kind of memories that are very difficult to kind of separate from each other because they're all great memories. Similarly, going to Rangers and making my Champions League debut, it's incredible.
That's what I was going to get at, mate. Like, obviously, we're talking about Aberdeen and stuff, but what was the reaction like going to Rangers? Like, what was that like?
Obviously, the kind of reaction, Aberdeen fans hated me. Got several kind of very interesting, well thought out tweets that, one guy hoped that I got hit by a bus and then shagged by someone with AIDS. And I was just left, I was left thinking, I hope I get hit by the bus first. Fuck me. Then, they were very creative in the ways they wanted my demise. But the reaction from the Rangers fans was great. For the most part, they were kind of happy to go, well, this guy's came from Aberdeen. We don't really know much about him, but we'll kind of judge him based on what he does for the team.
Aye.
And then I came on for the first game against Hamilton and put their striker through and goal, and Big Greavesy saved me. The fans must have been thinking, what the fuck is this guy?
How did you
send Agent Foster back immediately?
how did you find it going to Rangers, mate? So obviously, I mean, no disrespect to Aberdeen, but Rangers, obviously, with the facilities Rangers got and the resources they've got. How did you find it when you got there?
It was incredible. Obviously, Murray Park. Well, was it Hummel Arena? It's called now or something. Auchenhowie, is it? Okay,
right.
So it's impressive enough. But then you remember that, like I said, going through my teens, I was looking up at Alan McCoist, Ian Durant, and then so all of a sudden I'm walking in, and these are the guys that I'm now kind of speaking to, and they're taking my training and chatting with. So and Walter Smith as well, and so it was quite surreal for the most part. But then you settle in and you realise that they're just the same. But the one thing I probably never realised as much is how hard the Rangers players worked. On the pitch, in the gym. Because you always expect the Rangers and Celtic players to be better players, technically better players. But these guys were better players, but they were physically stronger, they were quicker, they were sharper, understood the game better. And that was an eye-opener. And I do believe that it brought my game on, playing with these guys, playing with Stephen Davis and Lee McCulloch and Kenny Miller and Nikita Jelavic. These guys who they've got more talent than I had, but they've also, they couple that with hard work. and a great attitude. And obviously, then you're working with Walter Smith, who's, unfortunately for him, probably the second best ever Scottish manager, because Sir Alex was so good. But obviously, Walter worked with him. But yeah, so it was very surreal to start with. But they quickly, I think Walter was great, especially with me, at not making it a big thing. Like the Champions League. So I knew that Kirk Broadfoot was injured. So we're walking in for training the day before the game, and the gaffer just pulls me. He's like, "Foz, come here." Puts his arm around me and to go, "So, do you fancy playing tomorrow?" And I was like, "Aye." He went, "All right." And that was it. I can remember I phoned my dad and I was like, "Dad, I think I'm playing tomorrow." Oh, sure, but I think I'm playing.
So is that the Champions League?
It's the Champions League. It's against Valencia.
Right.
And I think he just thought that if he obviously doesn't make it a big thing that I'm playing, then it'll allow me not to get as nervous as I probably would.
It'll try and keep you more relaxed as opposed to going shite.
Your arse would have been making buttons the second he said that.
It was.
Anyway.
But he was. I think he was just very good. He was very good with people. He knew which people he had to kind of shout at, which people he had to put an arm around, which people he needed to talk to. And his man management was excellent. I mean, it was just, I can always remember that. And it was just, I think he was just brilliant at, just like I say, kind of, we had actually quite a small squad, and he kept everything moving and everybody going all the time. And it was a great environment to play in, and obviously winning the league at the end of the season and that was a fantastic kind of experience to be a part of. But to be fair, I'm sorry to keep chatting on, but a few weeks before, I nearly crashed my motor because we're driving on the road, and Celtic were away to Inverness, right? So I'm driving along, and the commentator, and I think obviously Inverness they're winning at this point, or they're drawing, whatever, and then Paddy McCourt gets the ball. And I think it's when Lennon kicks the ball, because it's like when Paddy McCourt gets the ball and he goes past one, he goes past two, he goes into the box, he goes down, and it is not a penalty. And I'm like, "You bastard!" Yes, it's no penalty. You just expect it to be penalty to Celtic. They score a goal, they win the game. It was just, honestly, it was Auckland-Kilns. It was like 40 mile an hour speed limit, so I'm driving there, and if had it been 70 mile an hour, I think I'd have came off the road. So just like, and he built me up, and I was like, "Oh, you fuck!" Oh, my God, but no, that was brilliant, because then we knew from that moment on, if we win the rest of the games, we win the league, which obviously is what we did. So, but no, I can remember driving up the road at that moment, but absolutely buzzing, but adrenaline through the roof because I nearly crashed.
Like, mate, I remember you're saying it was quite a small squad we had, and I remember at the time we signed Jelavic, and I remember thinking we kind of put all our eggs in the one basket there with Jelavic, and a lot of people, I remember saying we need to strengthen here, we need to strengthen there. But obviously bringing Jelavic in, he was quality. But obviously, what was he like when you seen him firsthand? How good was he in training and on the pitch?
He's one of those players that when the ball went to him, everything seemed to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just seemed to have time. His first touch was incredible. He always knew where the goal was. He could always kind of manipulate his body to get a shot on target. I think you see with the goal in the League Cup final that he scores, he's kind of fallen over, but he still manages to get the ball on target. And like I say, he's just one of those guys that you look at and you think, why does he always have time on the ball? Like, he never seems to be under any pressure. And then I think his goal, what summed him up the most was his goal away to Aberdeen, Pataudry.
The overhead kick, mate.
You know what I mean? It's kind of a horrible game. Aberdeen had done well, couldn't have break them down, and then all of a sudden, out of nothing, just ball pops up in the overhead kick and win the game. And that kind of summed up how good he was. In the moments that you need him, he came up with the magic. I think he scored a free kick against Hamilton as well. We won 2-1. Like big moments where you need your big players, and he certainly stepped up.
Class. He's trying to crack a joke here.
I'm trying to find out here. How do you react? You're on loan to Rangers for Aberdeen, right? And he's put that overhead kick into the top corner. What's your reaction? Do you cheer or do you? What do you do? How do you react to it?
Cheer! I nearly came out the box through the glass. I was
Of course, Staunch Richard's going to cheer. Jesus Christ.
I told you, as soon as I changed team, my allegiance changed.
you were only on loan, you chancer.
I still won the league with him, so I'm buzzing.
Exactly. Come on. I mean, he won the league with Rangers, man.
It must have been some honour being part of the last ever Rangers team to win the league, right enough.
Sorry about him, Richard. Anyway, mate. Mate. Oh, Jesus.
Stephen,
Christ.
It's called football daft, not
Yes,
fucking
I
football
know.
focus, alright, guys?
Exactly. But looking back, what was the highlight of your time at Rangers, mate?
Probably the Champions League debut. Because I've played 3 games Champions League and then played in the Europa League. But I think just that atmosphere at Ibrox, kind of standing there, get your photo taken before the game, Champions League music comes on, wee bit of shite falls out your arse. The photo of me, the team photo, and everybody's kind of stood in. I'm like, it's bearing in mind, I was at Aberdeen, but obviously before, but I wasn't playing because I'd been suspended from the season before, so wasn't in the team. And I went within the space of 2 weeks. I was playing Cove Rangers in the Aberdeenshire Cup, and 2 weeks later, I was on the bench at Old Trafford.
Aye,
and then, 2 weeks after that, I was starting against Valencia, and I'm thinking to myself, if Carlsberg done loan moves, this is it.
Aye,
100%. This doesn't happen.
It's like you're saying there, see when you hear that Champions League music, that's when it kicks in, isn't it? Obviously, because it's fans in the stand, but for a player, it must be a different kettle of fish altogether when you hear that.
Especially when you've never experienced it, and like I said, the atmosphere at Ibrox that night was incredible. Like probably one of the best atmospheres I've ever played in. And it was just, I was playing against Juan Mata kind of directly, and my mates were like, "Oh, I think he'd done some outrageous bit of skill when he was away with Spain," and thankfully I hadn't seen it till after the game. But I don't know why my mates were wanting to tell me how good he was before the game. No, it was just special night, and the best bit was we stayed at the Mar Hall the night before the game. So we've played the game. I've then went back to the house. I was like, fuck, I'm getting house keys. I'd left my house keys at Mar Hall. I stayed that night in the Premier Inn. My ex-wife at the time, she was up the road, the wee one, and I basically came home and stayed at the Premier Inn in Mulgai, the one that sits behind the Burnbrae Hotel, on the night I made my Champions League debut. What a fall from grace that was.
Reality check, mate. Reality check.
So we mentioned there that obviously you won the league with Rangers, right? You won the league last year, last season with Partick Thistle. What one's better?
I think because I was not more involved, because you're all, obviously as a squad member, you are involved, but I think just the way it kind of transpired, probably just Partick Thistle, I think.
That's the wrong answer, Richard. That's the wrong answer.
I know.
Especially for Big John.
No, I think just because, like I say, the Rangers one, I knew at the time I was very much a squad player, and so that last 6 games, I think it was last 5 games where we had to win. I never played a minute in any of those games. Whereas with the Partick being on the pitch, when we beat Falkirk and we knew, and it's like that kind of, you just get it's just such a buzz when you're on the pitch, and we scored the 3rd goal, and you're always thinking, right, I need one more. But then once the 4th one goes in just after half time, you're thinking, right, that's it, done. But that's just won the league. So I think just because I was more involved, certainly towards the latter stage, probably the League One title.
All through that speech there, Richard, I'm looking at John, and I've just got Hello Darkness, my old friend, playing, and just the camera zooming in on John, you're like that, and we got the 3rd goal, and then when we got the 4th goal,
I can't even.
John's just sitting like that.
The thing is, Stevie, see if that was one of us that was doing it, John would do a video and put it on Twitter. He's not doing it for him.
I know.
And just remember that.
Right, so, Richard, you nearly had a square goal with Archie Knox, you had a wee ding-dong with Jimmy Calderwood. No near misses with Walter Smith, no? None?
No. He's the kind of guy who walks in the room and everybody just stops what they're doing and takes notice.
Aye.
Like when the teacher walks in when you were away at school.
But he was so good. Like, he was so good with the boys. He came in, and I've told this story before, but I find it so funny that he came in. We would go on the bikes before training, so he came in and he's fucking raging. Like, that way you kind of burst in the door and you're thinking, oh shit, somebody's getting it here. So he's like that to McGregor and James Beattie. Were you two fucking going into Corinthian? Were you in Corinthian at 3 o'clock in the morning on Saturday? They were like, no. Oh no, sorry, no. That was it. He says, "Have you chucked it at Corinthian at 3 o'clock in the morning?" And the two of them like, no, we're not chucked it. So then he storms off again. Then we go back into the dressing room, and usually we just walk out straight onto the training pitch. But no, we've got a meeting. So the don't know if you know, but the dressing room, and it's like an oval shape.
Mm-hmm.
He's standing up the far end of it, and Ian Durant stood behind him. And he's like, "Look, guys, we've got a small squad. I'd run a very relaxed ship here. I don't expect you, to kind of be like saints." But he says, "But I do expect that when we've got a game midweek, you don't go out on a Saturday night." He says, "But I must apologise to Griggsy and Beats." He says, "You didn't get chucked out at Corinthian at 3 o'clock. You were just fucking getting into Corinthian at 3 o'clock." And honestly, like, Ian Durant stood behind him like that, just like shaking, like silently laughing, because obviously he knew that if he started laughing and Walter turned round, he'd have fucking ripped his head off. But it was just, and I looked over at Lee McCulloch, his head's down and he's the same. And it was just like that way to a potential bad thing happening. He basically got his point across, but took the seriousness out of it. And I just thought that was brilliant, but it was just funny the way he said it, and he's completely deadpan when he said it. "Oh, I must apologise." And I was just like, so funny. So that was him, but you knew. No, I would never have shouted back to him.
No.
I think it's not that I never respected the other guys, but it's Walter Smith. You know what I mean? It's like the career he's had, what he's done. Like I say, when he talks, you stand up and take notice. So
certain people that command respect, and he's definitely one of them.
He is,
however, one of the people that don't command respect, going by your history, is a Mr. Danny Swanson.
No.
So what happened there?
It was one of the most bizarre situations ever, because there was no footage. So basically what happened is he gives a free kick away right before half time. I'm shouting at him, he's shouting back at me, and then the two of us are playing on the same side, and we both need to go off. Like, he needs to kind of run past me to go up the tunnel. So referee blows a half-time whistle, and we're just arguing back and forth. And I was like, I'll see you inside. So I'm running up, and we're both kind of going to converge in the tunnel, and I see him just change direction and come toward me. So I'm like, oh shit. So then I just go toward him, and then what annoys me the most is everybody's like, "Oh, I Foster threw a punch," and I'm thinking to myself, I never threw a punch. What I'd done was I put my left hand out to try and grab him so I could throw a punch with my right hand. So they're all like, "Oh, he threw a punch." I'm like, I'm not going to throw a weak punch with my left hand. I'm going to build this fella up. So I went to grab him, but I don't know how, but I've slipped. And then I've went down. I've kind of felt a thud as my head hit the floor. Well, I thought my head had hit the floor. So go in, and then I get up, and I'm still raging. And then I think Blair Alston's got, like, he's like bear hugging me from behind, and I'm trying to get away to him to get to Danny, and we go in, and it's all calmed down, and the two of us realise that we've made an arse of it. We're sitting there, and then we apologise. But who was it sitting next to me? Tam Scobie's sitting beside me. So I went through to the referee, and the referee, by the way, the referee never seen it.
Aye.
So he's like, "But I need to send you off for violent conduct." So right, okay. So I went back through, and I'm sitting with Tam, and Swanee gets called through, and I says to Tam, I says, like Swanee will be all right, because I kind of went for him first. It's probably me who's going to get sent off, and he'll be fine. Tam's just turned and looked at me and went, "He fucking volleyed you in the head." And I was like, "Oh." Was that what it was when I fell down? Because I just thought I hit my head off the ground. I think it was he clearly obviously went to do it and then thought, shit, I can't do it properly because he'd have taken my head off. So it was just like, so I felt a bump and I just thought I'd hit the ground. But no, I think it was Swanee had booted me. But
like, what did Father Dougal for Father Ted, man, getting a wee fly kick in when you're doing it? That's brutal.
Hey, but like I say, it was so surreal because no footage, no video footage at all.
Mate, did your wife, did Amy McDonald, did she have a go at him on the radio or something?
No, not
Tommy
Danny.
Wright.
Her and Tommy kind of
Was
fell
it
out
Tommy Wright?
when I left.
Aye.
And then Tommy referred to her as Mrs. Foster, which was a bit misogynistic, she felt. So,
aye.
But then it's all kind of, Tommy and I got on great now, and we've spoken a few times, in the last couple of months. And there's, like, again, the two of us don't hold any grudges. Amy doesn't hold any grudges. But Amy's.
I bet she was pissing herself when Kelly get relegated, but
no, that's the thing. Not at all. But she's obviously what she does. She gets, she can get some abuse and stuff as well, and people and she does. It's water off a duck's back, and she doesn't bother. But see, when someone says something about the people she loves or the people that's in the kind of her close group,
of course, mate. Of course,
she's like a spitting viper. Honestly, she just comes out and.
But that's the way to be, mate. That's the best way. If it's somebody that you love getting abuse, you're going to stand up for them no matter what. Do you know what I mean?
Aye, and I think I would be exactly the same. The abuse I get, especially now that I'm a bit older, I don't care. But if anyone kind of was to say anything about her, it does anger me somewhat. So yeah, that was all that was. But it was a strange situation that, it's a good story to tell. Like, I told my son, your dad got sent off for fighting one of his teammates. So, an example
how
of that.
How old's your boy?
He's 10 now. He must have only been about 6 at the time.
Aye. But mate, let me ask you this, man. Does Amy let you drive any of fast motors?
Aye.
By
the way, after I hope you don't listen to fucking the
I was going to say that. I don't be listening to any storylines, mate, with things.
No, she's a tad more nervous in the car than I am. When I'm sitting in the car, and to be fair, she's got the Lamborghini Urus and the 458 Speciale Ferrari. So there's a lot of power there, and I like
the old music game. You need to get into the music game, don't you?
I know. God, man.
We could get Grado, and we could be like the new Westlife.
Aye.
Bagsy Louis Walsh.
the new Scottish band, No Direction. You know what I mean? But anyway, mate, you've signed a new deal at Thistle. Is this going to be your last season or what?
Well, I think it's just it depends how the body copes. I said that last season, and last season was really tough. Like I say, I think it was about 9 months from the last time I played a game to going back in, like, kind of pre-season training, if you will.
Yeah,
and that was really tough in the body because it started to kind of not shut down, but just kind of get used to not doing anything, because I was doing running on my own. But see, unless you train, you don't have that intensity and you can't get it. So last year initially was really tough, and I thought, you know what, this will be my last year, win League One, try and get up. Kind of that's really what I'm hoping for. But then the longer the season went on, the stronger I felt. I mean, we played Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday, and in both Thursday games, I felt great. And it was like my third game in 6 days or whatever it was. So in this season going back, I feel really good. A few days in, obviously I've got the usual aches and pains and kind of tired legs at night, but the manager's quite good because he set the boys up to do the running today, and I done kind of most of the running, but then he left me out for the last few, so he appreciates that I'm a bit older and obviously need more time to recover and that. But it's basically until the body says no, or until somebody stops paying me to play.
What about this one then? Right, so Partick Thistle were all over the internet recently. Right, with a viral video when Tiffany signed. Right, could they not have done something for you when you signed your new deal? Did you not get your missus to do Mr. Rock and Roll or something like that?
My name doesn't fit with any good songs. I mean, Scott Tiffany fits really, really well with Breakfast
at Tiffany's. I suppose.
I mean, that's my job for this week. I need to come up with a Richard Foster song.
Right.
The Aberdeen fans used to sing "What's That Coming Over the Hill?" It's Richard Foster.
Well, there we go. There we go.
Aye.
But that was before I left to go to Rangers.
There's that bastard coming back over the hill again.
So, Richard, the legs go, I'll nobody pays you to play anymore. When it's done, what is it? Is it management or media? Because you're in, obviously I see you on like sports scene and stuff now, and you're popping up in different things before matches and stuff. Is it media or management?
I would like to go into coaching. I've done all my badges. I've got my A license, and I'm assistant manager of the Thistle ladies team at the moment. And then once their season finishes in July, I'm going to kind of change over and start doing a bit of coaching. I think it's under like 16, 17s at Thistle.
Excellent.
So I do want to go down that road, but at the same time, I do enjoy the media stuff. Enjoy kind of basically because football's much easier when you're just watching other people play it. So
aye.
We know.
Weird
Me and To's made a career out of that.
I've made a bit. I've become a better player the more I watch other people play.
By the way, you do come across well. I will say that you do come across.
Well, I appreciate that, and I do like. I like to go in there and I try and be, you know, if Celtic play well, I'll say Celtic play well. If Rangers play well, I'll say Rangers play well.
If Celtic play well, you say Celtic play well. If Rangers play well, you're like, you fucking see that, boys? lads.
But no, I try and be kind of impartial, and I try and be honest, and I see a lot of guys go on there and have like notes and lists of notes, and I think, well, I'm not there to give you stats. I think because that's not I'm there as a current football player to give my opinion. So if you ask me a question now, I'm going to give you my opinion as of now.
Right.
So I don't. Some people need the notes. I prefer not to have them because I think it would just it would make it a bit more stunted. So like I say, I just try and be honest, and I've had nearly every time I go on sports scene and I come off and I look at Twitter and there's like a Sun Sport or a Daily Record story about something that I've said in sports scene. I mean, the most recent one was the Dundee United goalie. Before, I don't know if you heard it, but before the game, I was doing it and we heard that Seagrass pulled out the game. So that was fine. So other guys coming in, and then we've seen the video footage of it. And he's kind of he's pointing at a wee bit in his wrist, and as if he's going, "Oh, it's a wee bit sore." So I've just went, I tell you what, he better be injured. He better have broken that wrist because he's pulled out the game, the cup game. There better be something serious wrong with him, which is the exact attitude I would have had if I was playing beside him. But clearly, I'm no wishing that he broke his wrist. Got to the point that but I do believe I said he better leave in a cast, but it was said with a smile on my face. But then the Dundee United media team, they were wanting to know what I said. I then had to kind of apologise for what I said.
Oh, but anybody with any common sense knows what you mean from a football perspective there.
Listen, seeing social media, there's no fucking common sense.
No,
we know
that's part of the problem. So yes, so they so they ran with it, and then Mickey Mellon was getting asked about it for weeks afterwards, and everybody's going to go, "Oh, Richard Foster wishes injuries on his fellow professionals." And I think, guys, this has been taken far too much out of context. But like I say, at that moment, that's what. If I was being in the dressing room beside him, I'd have said that to him. I said, "You better be injured, by the way."
Exactly. I bet you the Dundee United players were saying the exact same.
Exactly, totally, man.
Because it ruins.
Maybe they never said it on the telly right enough. Do you know what I mean?
But anyway, Richard, it's been great talking to you. But every week on Football Daft, we put our guests' Scottish football knowledge to the test with our 90-second quiz.
Okay.
You up for it? Right.
I'm up
We've got a leaderboard here.
here.
David Martindale's top of the leaderboard with a score of 16. And joint second, it's
90 seconds?
Aye, man.
Aye.
Did he have a trivia
second,
beside him?
He did, actually. He did. He had a guy sitting next to him helping him with the answers.
In second, it's John Sutton, Chick Young, and Hamilton Scott Martin. They're all on 15. Mark Wilson and Keith Lasley are third with 14. Other selected scores include Jamie Langfield on 12, Kyle Hutton on 7, Lee Miller on 6.
Kyle Hutton on 7?
He's on 7, mate.
Can't even
and Barry from EastEnders is on 4. Right. At the bottom, it's a tie between Peter Lovengrans, Derek Johnston, Craig Levine, and Mixu Patalainen, and they're all on 3.
Oh dear. Okay.
Right. So is there anybody you want to beat?
This is one league that I'm just hoping for mid-table in.
But I'm going to let Chris answer ask you the questions because my boy is trying to run out the front door 2 seconds, right?
Go and get him some ice cream, Stevie. Right, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go, aye.
Right, John, have we got 90 seconds on the
We
clock?
have indeed.
Richard, your 90 seconds start now. Who was Rangers' oldest goal scorer this season?
Jermaine Defoe.
Which member of the current Scotland squad has the most caps?
David Marshall.
Which English side did Lee Griffiths play for?
Pass.
Can't pass, got to give an answer.
Carlisle.
Which group are France and Germany in?
D.
Who's the only Glasgow-based team Dick Campbell has managed? You should
Partick
know this.
Thistle.
You should know, yeah.
Alright.
Which team did you make your European debut against for Aberdeen?
Dnipro.
Which town are East Fife based in?
Methil.
Which stadium has a higher capacity, Easter Road or Tynecastle?
Easter Road.
Who are the current Scottish Challenge Cup holders?
Alloa.
Name any Scottish Premier League with a lion on their club crest.
Alloa.
Which former Celtic defender has been linked with a move back to the club this week?
Virgil van Dijk.
How many career goals have you scored?
10.
What colour appears alongside white and blue on the Scotland home kit sleeves?
Yellow.
And what season did you make your professional debut for Aberdeen?
2002, 2003.
MLS club Real.
Time!
After the question.
MLS club Real Salt Lake play in which American state?
Oh, it's Salt Lake City. Utah.
Just going to give away the answer there. I better
Difference, that can make a difference. Let's tout up the score.
I can't believe we're linked back with Virgil van Dijk, man.
Yes.
Okay, Richard, I'll go through your wrong answers. Member of the current Scotland squad has the most caps. It's not David Marshall, Craig Gordon, so you were on the right lines there. Lee Griffiths played for Wolves. France and Germany are in Group F. Current Scottish Challenge Cup holders, one of your former teams, Ross County. You're clearly not a badge kisser, Richard. A team with a lion on their club crest. You could have Dundee United, you could have had Livingston, or you could have, of course, had Rangers as well. So, and the former Celtic defender linked with the move back, it's Eric Shievich. I can't even pronounce it. Shevchenko. And the colour on Scotland's sleeve, it's not yellow, it is red. However, you have beaten Kyle Hutton. Right, you've not beaten Jamie Langfield. You're on 8.
I'll do that. Mid-table, told you.
I went away to get my boy a tangerine there. I came back. I didn't realise you said badge kisser. I thought you said you're clearly not a bad kisser. I was like, what the hell have you been doing?
Well, hey, don't knock it till you've tried it.
Hey, there you go, mate. There you go. But that's a decent score, my man. That's a decent score. Well done.
Superb.
I think it was Scotland short.
It's got white, blue, then white, then red on it.
Oh, is it?
On the sleeve, aye.
You can clearly see I've never worn one.
Oh, but Richard, it's been great talking to you, and honestly, thanks so much for giving up your time and coming on. We really appreciate it.
You having me on, guys.
Brilliant, mate. All the best for next season, mate. Good luck.
Yep.
Thank you. See you later. See ya.
Cheers, Richard. Bye-bye.
Football Daft with G4 Claims. Been involved in a road traffic accident? Get them now at notitfaultclaims.com.
That today was one of my favourite interviews I've ever done on Football Daft.
Wow.
I'd agree with that. I think the bold Richard was, I didn't take him as an absolute wrecking machine. He's a bit of a wrecking machine, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He likes to fling his hat in the ring.
See if there's a square goal happening.
He's not far away.
For it.
I know, he's not far away.
I mean, you go through it, when you look at it, Archie Knox, Danny Swanson,
Jimmy Calderwood,
Tommy Wright.
Aye.
No shy, is he?
No, and I had him doing as this kind of quiet guy.
Placid. Gentleman.
Aye, but I think we've all learned today, you don't fuck with Richard.
You don't fuck with Richard Foster, that's right.
You don't fuck with Richard Foster. And see if you do, Amy's no fucking far behind it either. You've got a fight in your hands with the two of them.
And by the way, they'll not be farm catching you either with their fucking motors and shit.
I'll tell you what, it was an absolute diamond, that guy. I really enjoyed it. And we're just making memories every week, man, and Grado's not here.
I know. Well, this goes out just before the Scotland game. You're maybe listening to after the Scotland game. So I've got to ask you boys before we go, and if you are, make a bold prediction. What's the score going to be tomorrow night?
I'm going to back my son up, and I'm going to say 2-1 to Scotland.
Stephen?
Can't mate. Move film it.
You guys would be a failure on the radio. This is one of the unwritten rules of radio.
I tell you what, John. What do you think is going to happen?
I think I'm going for a 1-1. I'm going for a 1-1, then a win against Croatia next Tuesday.
My head is saying we're going to get beat tomorrow night. My heart is saying we're going to pull something out the hat. But if he doesn't play our good players, what fucking chance have we got?
Yeah, you know what I mean? This is it. He's got to pick the right team. And
it doesn't matter. If we don't get anything tomorrow, it's a dead rubber against Croatia. Because you're not going to finish as one of the best after losing 2 games, right? So it's a dead rubber. This is make or break for Steve Clarke, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Aye, I'd agree with you there. I think they still owe him a World Cup qualifying campaign.
Yeah.
But unless he pulls something out the hat tomorrow, then he's got that World Cup qualifying campaign, and then if he doesn't qualify, he's out the door.
If he doesn't pull something out the hat, he's going to get the Celtic joke once Big Ange's out the door.
Listen, Big Ange's here for 10 in a row, my man.
I tell you what, Chris. See if Scotland do win, right? If we beat England, right?
Yes.
We'll tell the Big Brother story next week.
If Scotland beat England, I'll reenact the Big Brother story.
Right, okay. Oh wow, there you go. Heard it here first.
Scotland!
Scotland!
Audio Frontier.